one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
The story comes to us from CNN, where one Dallas police officer is dead and 2 others are injured following a shootout with a suspect who had fatally shot an officer in his marked patrol car in what law enforcement officials are calling an execution. Now, the suspect, identified as 30-year-old Corey Cobb Bay, arrived at the 4 Oak Cliff Community Center and parked his car around 10 p.m. last Thursday. He approached Dallas police officer Darren Burks, who was in his parked car near the front entrance of the building, and he began recording their conversation, according to a release from the Dallas Police Department. Now, Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia said during a news conference, Cobb Bay approached Officer Burks, talked with him briefly through the driver's side window as he recorded the encounter with a cell phone. Chief says the suspect then pulled out a handgun and executed Officer Burks as he sat in his vehicle. He goes on, I do want to make something clear. I know that the word ambush has been thrown around in the last 24 hours or so. That is not what happened here. Officer Burks was executed, says Chief Eddie Garcia. An officer in distress call went out shortly after 10 p.m. last Thursday when the wounded officer was found in his car, the department's communications director, Kristen Lohman, said during a conference. A police dispatcher noticed an unusual transmission from Burks' radio, and officers were deployed to look for him, says the department. Now, after shooting Burks, the suspect returned to his car and retrieved a shotgun, which he put on the roof of Burks' police car. The suspect immediately fired a handgun at the first responding officer, Jamie Farmer, who returned fire and ran across the parking lot, according to the release. The suspect then grabbed the shotgun from the police car roof and fired again at Farmer, hitting her in the leg as she ran, according to the department. Carissa David, the second responding officer, arrived a minute after Jamie Farmer. The suspect ran towards David, shooting at her multiple times as she exited her vehicle at the entrance of the parking lot. David, unfortunately, was shot in the face during the exchange, moments before a sergeant arrived at the scene. Now, Dallas Fire Rescue responded within 5 minutes of receiving the call for the injured officers, who were all taken to hospitals, according to the public information officer, Jason Evans. Farmer was treated and released from the hospital, while Carissa David remains in critical but stable condition, according to the news release. The Dallas police officer's death brings the number of law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty to at least 93 so far this year, according to the Officer Down memorial page. Of those, 38 deaths were gunfire. Now, the suspect fled the scene in a vehicle, and Dallas police officers followed Bay in a pursuit which ended in Louisville, north of Dallas. And according to a preliminary investigation, Bay got out of the vehicle with a long gun and was shot by Dallas police officers multiple times and died at the scene.
Warning: some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Felony stop, guys. Good felony stop. Use caution. Got a door coming open. Use caution. He's looking back, still in the car, coming out with a weapon. Nope, hands are up. He's got a weapon in hand. Walking back towards officers. Vehicle, weapon in hand. EMS. Roll EMS. Got shots fired.
The investigation at both scenes in Dallas and Louisville remains ongoing by the Dallas Police Special Investigations Unit and has determined the shooting was premeditated after detectives found and collected evidence from social media, according to the police. The Dallas County District Attorney's Office was notified about the case and responded to the scene as part of its own investigation. Garcia is expected to provide an update on the investigation and the officers involved in the coming days, says Lohman. She says, our department is hurting. We have officers who are injured, who are in the hospital, and we lost one of our own. We ask tonight and this morning for the thoughts and prayers of our city, for not only those who are recovering in the hospital, but for our fallen, for their family and for their loved ones, and for us as a department as well, she said. Now this one was in the news quite a bit. When I was going through and looking for stories, this one was listed like all the way down the page, the search engine that I was using to look up these stories. But I wanted to give it to you because I want to pose something that I think might happen or start something that might start happening in across the nation. So this Cobb Bay goes up. He's recording the police interaction. What does he remind you of? First Amendment auditor, right? He's going up. He's recording the cop. He starts talking to the cop, recording him. And then they're saying he pulls out a handgun and executes the officer, which he probably did. I'm not going to argue that point right now. But what I'm thinking is now every time somebody comes up with a camera, cops are going to use that. Hey, man, back up. You need to go way over there, man. I don't want to get shot. Or, you know, I can't watch you and do this too, man. Now they're really going to use that excuse. That's what I'm thinking, is that now every time someone comes up with a camera, they're going to go, hey, I know what happened in Dallas. Why don't you back up, blah, blah, blah. I want to know if you guys agree or disagree. If you think, no, dude, no. Or do you think, yeah, you know what? They probably are going to start doing that.